So, first up, of course, let's just review from yesterday. Let's write this in slope-intercept form, aka solve for y. I'm going to get rid of the 2x by subtracting it. Now, let's be conscientious here. Slope-intercept form, remember, the x term has to be first. You have to put the negative 2x first, of course, and then we're going to divide everything by 5. I'm running out of room. I'm going to sneak it in there. So we've got it, negative 2/5 x, and then 20 over 5 is 4. Now, if I asked you, what is the slope of the line? You can tell it to me. I'm going to ask you that in a minute. Or if I asked you what's the y-intercept, what is the slope of the line? Negative 2/5. What would be the y-intercept? And I like your negative 4. I'm going to nitpick it though. 0, negative 4. It has to be that ordered pair. I can't help myself. Okay, slope of the line. So blue formula up here that's on the board next to us, of course, are y2 minus y1. I'm going to label. You don't have to label. You know I like to label. So y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. This one comes out pretty nice. We've got negative 17 on the top, and then 3 minus 2 on the bottom. And of course, we're going to simplify, best answer, negative 17. So any questions on these first two? Too easy, too easy. Okay, still easy. What's the slope of that line? Now, I'm going to give it away, not give it away. Can you do number 3 with no work? Yes. What's significant here? So when the x's are the same, what does your slope turn out to be? Undefined. Because remember,
If the are the same, then it's 0.
So x's are on the bottom. When you subtract the same numbers, you're going to have 0 on the bottom of a fraction. You can't divide by 0 undefined. Okay? What's the slope of this line? What? Or ask yourself, what number is in front of x? Nothing. We don't have an x.
0.
And let's just review, what type of special line would that be? Would that be a vertical or a horizontal? Horizontal, horizontal, good. Good, see, we got it. Okay, so today we're a little bit away from the graphing. You're not going to have to draw lines today. We want to start writing equations of the lines. So, to do that, of course, we might use our slope-intercept form. Mx plus b is already on your note sheet. You know all of this, of course. M is the slope, so fill that in. You got to write that in on your notes there. B, we know it, y-intercept. And then in the formula, x and y just represent a point, of course. So I was going to get fancy and write ordered pair. I'm just going to go with point. So really, of course, we know m is the slope, b is the y-intercept. That's nothing new, wild, crazy, or exciting. So this is nice, except it moved my little fraction bar here. Well, I'm just going to redraw it in here. So this one's nice. Write the slope-intercept form of the equation with the given slope and intercept. Well, you have everything you need to write the equation right there in front of you. You don't have to do any work because you got your slope, you got your b. I'm just going to write it out. Y equals negative 2x plus 5. Let's just have a test on this, right? Okay, this one, of course, your slope is 5/7, so 5/7 x, and then your y-intercept. So obviously we're not going to spend a lot of time on these types of problems because clearly they're very simple. What happens to us sometimes is they don't give you the y-intercept. So that is this formula. So you need to fill in this point slope form on your note sheet. And that's the red one that's over here on the board too. So let me first give you a minute to write in that lovely formula and then we'll explain what everything means. Does that look vaguely familiar?
Yeah.
Okay.
The name is very familiar. I know the name.
Okay.
I
Now,
don't like this.
this is, math sometimes, we're pretty obvious here. You're going to use this formula because you've got two formulas now, especially they're over there on the board, the green and the red. You have two formulas. Use the names to help you decide when to use what. If you have just a point and slope, I'm going to use this one. I know it's shocking. If I have slope and a y-intercept, I'm going to use this one. So it just depends on whether you have the y-intercept, this formula, or you do not have the y-intercept, this one. M is still the slope, That never changes, okay? We can do slope all day. And of course, x1, y1, those are the coordinates of the point. And we're going to put coordinates of point. So when you're using this formula, you are replacing the slope. That's easy. They're either going to give it to you, or you might have to do your y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And you're going to replace the coordinates of the point. So you're going to have three numbers you're going to plug into the formula. X and y, just the plain x and y, they stay as x and y. And those are going to be just part of our formula when we do this. So those three things are what we're going to swap out. So write an equation line that goes through this point. So right now I'm like, ooh, that's not the y-intercept. It's not it. If you plot it, it's not on the y-axis. So there's my x1, y1, slope of 7. So I'm going to use my red formula on the board over there, point slope form. Y minus the y coordinate. Yeah, I know, I'm going to make it a plus in a minute. Slope x minus the x coordinate. Now let's make these minus negative pluses. And just like yesterday, we now want to write it in slope-intercept form. So I'm going to solve for y. Order of operations, I'm going to do parentheses first. Let's distribute 7 through. 7 times x, 7 times 2. And then last but not least, let's get y totally isolated. I'm going to get rid of plus 3 by subtracting 3. I'm going to put my final answer over here so I'm not clear at the bottom. So 14 minus 3, 11. So now if I asked you what the y-intercept is, you could all tell me it is 11. 0, comma 11 would be the best, most beautiful answer there is. So this is what we're doing today. If they just give you a point, it is a little bit more work clearly than yesterday, but I still don't think it's bad. Or would you rather write proofs? I don't know. I can't
I will never
Okay,
write
good.
proofs, I swear to God. No, thank you.
Okay, first question. Is this point the y-intercept? If you plot -1, -1, is it on the y-axis? Sure isn't, so I'm going to use the red point slope formula again. So I can't write y minus the y coordinate, our slope -2, and then x minus the x coordinate. Now again, you got a lot of minus negatives. Let's make them pluses. We want to get it back to our y equals form, so I'm going to get rid of my parentheses, little order of operations, parentheses first. -2 times x, -2 times 1. And then last but not least, let's minus the 1 from both sides. And now you know your y-intercept if I asked it, which I will. What is the y-intercept?
0, negative.
0, -3. Good. This is as wild as it gets today, my friends. Well, there's one with a fraction in it. Get ready for that. Okay, here it is. A half. How horrible, I know. First question, is -2, comma 3 on the y-axis?
No.
Nope. So again, point slope form. Y minus the y coordinate, our slope, x minus the x. Now same spiel, we have our minus negative. I'm going to get rid of parentheses first. Let's distribute. So half times x. Here we go, fraction masters. What's a half times 2? 1. And then last but not least, let's add 3 to both sides. So 1/2 x, 1 plus 3, 4. Piece of cake, piece of cake. I feel like there's probably too many examples today. I don't think it's anything too crazy. But any questions on this guy? Okay. Question, as always, is this point the y-intercept?
Yes.
Yes. Ding, 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 ding. You got the y-intercept. So, I do not have to use the red formula. I could use the red formula, but I could use the green. You know the slope, you know the intercept. You can just write down the answer right now and be done with it. Y equals the slope times x and our y-intercept. So be on the lookout for that, because sometimes they do still sneak a y-intercept on you. If you're like, oh gosh, I didn't recognize it, you can still go through and do all of this, just for the record, and solve it and, you know, do all the stuff. You'll end up with the same answer. It's just obviously more time consuming. We're all about smarter, not harder. Okay, you guys are up. You try those two, see if you can come up with equations for me. All right, here we go. Let's set up this first one. So y minus the y coordinate, 2, equals our slope, x minus the x coordinate. Now let's test our fraction skills. I can't wait to hear it. Nobody gets this wrong. This is fine. What's negative 2/3 times negative 3? Positive 2. So last thing you have to do, of course, is add the 2 over. So we're going to end up with a final answer of negative 2/3 x plus 4. Now obviously the second one here on the screen is easier because your slope's a nice whole number. But as always, quick question for you, is negative 4, negative 5 the y-intercept? No, so I'm back to this. Y minus the y, x minus the x. Okay, and I hear you guys flipping the page. Just humor me. What did you get for a final answer here? 2x plus 3. Perfect. Any questions on that one? Okay, 2 to go, and there's some special cases, so let's talk about these. Easy, I promise. Now, first up, you could do the same thing we've been doing for like the last 20, it feels like, problems. Y minus negative 6 equals 0, x minus 5. But I'm not even going to do that much work, because slope is 0. What type of line is that? Vertical or horizontal? Horizontal, good. Now, all horizontal lines will hit which axis? All horizontal lines will hit the y. So they're always y equals. Now, you really got 50-50. It has to go through this point. Y better equal which number?
Negative 6.
Negative 6. If you're like me and there's no way I would have recognized that, well, do your y minus negative 6, 0. You get the same answer, okay? But, undefined slope. How am I going to slap undefined in front of parentheses and distribute undefined?
You just put x.
We can't. So let's think about it. Let's think about it. Focus. Keep it together. We're on the home stretch. What type of special line has an undefined slope? Vertical. All vertical lines hit which axis? X. So they're x equals. You have to go through negative 2, 7. X better equal.
Negative 2.
Done.
It's better equal
Done.
14.
So the horizontal and vertical you can do with no work, my friends. Okay? Any questions about that?